Answer. My waking slept before, forever long and long after my opened eyes. But I now eye interiors and enter in my inner otherness. Whether wanting or wonder won my oneness is a wifeful guess. I bless my yesing to the questions questioned best. I gave the give of all my living to my life. The rest will rest. I spent several winters alone in the woods, which may or may not be advisable, and wrote a lot, and a lot of it is like, inner, you know. So this is one of those, and it's called False Gods. Without the worldly concerns, I am no one, zilch, not a thing to show for my life. The campaign for control is foiled. The plot, planned with painstaking effort, commitment to detail, and finely tuned delusion, falls apart. The primary suspect is a sham, no proof but appearances, and the straight scoop is buried in an invented identity that amounts to nothing. No clue as who's to blame for a lifetime spent weighing and fumbling with evidence, while the truth faced me head on, and I looked elsewhere. Wild goose chase through a shop of mirrors where I got lost searching for something to own. The defense rests with the confession of confusion, that insidious mask crowding out a light so bright I can't see and disappear like breath from glass. The way clears, no regrets.
Do you mind using the mic for the back of the room?
With the street noise, it's a little hard
Okay.
back there. You don't want to
Yeah, I mean,
it's fine right up to the last 4 feet.
you'll hear David and I yelling at each other.
That'll work.
I'm going to read a couple of poems for David, written in the last year and a half or so. This is called Frog Song, and this was written on a very hot summer night, so I just thought, oh, this is a good night for it. An incredibly loud frog cackles one cack at a time, a rugged blurt, a single grate of grating sound off in the dark. Then silence, one single burp. Quiet broods, then a hiccup, a dog barks. The crickets are hysterical. Clicks of crackle coming out of the black pitch of a throat, not unlike other frogs. A grumble in the bumpy hide of soft warts that are meant to be there. Green and speckly, perfectly worn skin under the neck of a long life living under shrubbery. Who could imagine it? That you would sing to the night, crouching in a song that rumbles the dirt in the luscious rub of your own rhythm. And this was written in our home. Book for David. In your chair, your cave, head bent to book, your prayer, your candle, quiet lights your eyes, fingertips, bowing spine, wooing mind from its house of white head atop an old man disguise, dog-eared trappings of sage. Sweatshirt loose on bones ground down into flesh you wrestle daily. Clomp along to the teapot, stand at the sink, look out over the Oakland hills, delight in their heavy gray. Pause on the walk back to swallow titles, each a cell that fled your body for the shelves. Pause again, look in on me, still across the bed. My skin, your page, belly of words, mythic dark patch. Your full quill, breasts, oh, love's round letters will write your poems. But today you are reading. These next two poems are written for two very dear friends of mine who died very young, and seems to be sort of a theme this evening for me. Great people. This first one is called The Clearing of Fields. You may have to be crushed to become yourself, long enough to let go. That old world must slip into the dream it is in order to wake. All that has gone on, the doing of things, a field rich with manure, useful for replanting, the soil full of everything you have thought that led you here. We suffer to change the arrangement of rows, toiling through a mind that yearns to be wild. It is our work to till the ground of becoming. The hands of grace push us to it. And when the garden looks barren, only the sowing of seeds results in what is yet to be. Pausing to take in the view. Nothing can truly be said until our worried minds shed their protection, until taste evens out, weightless as light, and form opens its hand beyond the skin, beyond bone, no longer clinging to anything. We finally let loose into the breath given. For you and I can embrace the truth that releases this grip we hang on like clothespins rusted to the wire. And out beyond the fence is a field where a windmill slips through the air. The wind sends it into itself so easily. Within the perfect drift of its spokes, I see our lives offer to give up resistance as we spill forward and empty into the sky. Riddle. It is not the skin laid over its landscape of tendon, muscle, bone, and veins like high roads running the length of the world. Under the hair, behind the eyes, inside organs pumping, out of earshot and within it, tasting invisible, smelling hollow, the talk of form taking space, the cause of a shadow, the heat of being born, and all the suffering. Hidden in the breath and lost without it, hostile of memory and habit, at most a guest, and least expected to move out. It is nameless and never found, yet completely relied on. This is a poem I was hoping to read for Latif. He put it in Beatitude, which I was very grateful for. It's called The Struggle of Muscle. Skin wraps around bone, making the skull lovely, covering the sockets, the horror of the empty jaw, rigid teeth, their hollow white grin, covering how the skeleton is no one, how flesh covers no one, masking the absence of a person, the world caught in pockets of thoughts that feed on believing the body is home, a haven, the suggestion of heaven made by a slip of the tongue wanting to be God, wanting to pray away death, though it waits ahead, an abstract and certain sun burning the horizon, disappearing each night like a dream, the dream we sleep in and wake in each morning. As the body lives to forget, we are in it. The struggle of muscle to bend around the truth, to keep us young, to keep us quiet. This is sort of a shift. I was raised in a Christian home. I'm not Christian. But this poem came out of nowhere, and I knew it was for my mom. I think I was trying to tell her something. And it's very different than what I usually write. But I think this is the third time I've read it. I think I wrote it about 30 years ago. And it's called Gospel of the Madonna. The first man who loved me was God. He drew my cells into skin. I dreamed his hands inside me, rearranging my body, his glove. We come into town as a woman. He breathes with me, our vow in my mouth, our union unspoken. In the past, it was thought we were separate. His rumor of rank, my armband of boycott. I take back my prayers from the priest to give them myself. Seeds in my hand, precious beads. I've marked a path with these stones, called God there, raw in my lungs, felt my wishes deep in his loins, drank the spill of his psalms, and saw they were mine. There is no difference between us, we are complete. I feed his love in my belly, his power has colored my blood. God is the virgin whose children have grown inside woman. From under the body of man, the lover she will not abandon. In me, he lives again. Kind of strange. I admit it. This is a poem written, I lived for 25 years in Oregon. I grew up in the Bay Area, and I lived in Oregon. And during that time, I wrote, and this is an evening alone in a donut shop in the winter, and it's not really wintry now, but you can visualize that. And it's called Pausing in the Doorway. In the window, I wanted to say also, this is written, of course, long before I met David. I no longer feel this way. Pausing in the doorway. In the window at the donut den in Medford, Oregon, I reflect with the vacant yellow stools, the slick formica tables, not a crumb, and look out through my face to the darkened parking lot. A guy sits on the bus bench, mumbling in the cold, alone in this town that must be America. Some glazed-looking neighbors just off swing shift wander past the bargain mart. Let's save for the good life. My wrinkles stand out in the light, reminding, you have doubted your worth for years, concealing your scars, knowing that others hide their lives in a similar disguise. Citizens in the land of freedom, I refuse to paint my eyes. My lips are the color of flesh. I am shaped like the earth. My hands lined like a map that leads to death. If I am not beautiful, it is because I do not think so. My poverty caused by the lack of what I think I want and do not have. Someday, the power of love may take me home, where my life has stood like a mannequin, stripped down. I did not mean to be alone. It slowly surrounded me like the sound of a radio left on all night, cheating my sleep. The news is the same each day. I say this makes life easier, but the beloved waits dormant in my heart. Full of hunger, familiar with the diversion of Safeway, I have gone to stroll the aisles, a tourist, filling my bag like an eager mouth. Pain lives in the dark of this hole. We cover it quick as a burial. Sincerest prayer, I swear to God, if you were my neighbor, I'd ask you to dinner. Then wonder, if God is my nature, this must be my heaven. Tonight I saw the dark like a light blown out, a cover to crawl under where I fell, undone. My dreams have been hidden as stones deep in the ground. I walk in the land of promise, head down, staring at stains on the pavement, while the sky opens wide, facing dawn. Coming up, the moon is a dime shining on asphalt in the rain. Coming over, that poor man takes the dime into his flat pocket. Coming to this place, I am waking up. Seeing my face aging on the glass, I know this is it. This is the choice to live or watch through the window. The color of my cheeks there, faint as a tear. The ghost of my reflection now moving out toward this street where I am filled with the breath of the world. Pausing in the doorway, I am like anyone, familiar with isolation, nervous, but certain that we are not strangers. I raise my head to look you in the eye.